The city of West Hollywood kicked off December by celebrating World AIDS Day with a candlelit vigil, followed by the ceremonies for the Paul Starke Warrior Awards, which honor individuals who provide services to people living with HIV and AIDS. We had a chance to meet up with one of these warriors for this month's Mic Drop. According to UN AIDS data, 36.7 million people were living with HIV in 2016. That's why somebody like Yolanda Reyes is so important. Over the past 6 years, Yolanda has been working in SHEP, the Sexual Health and Education Program at the Los Angeles LGBT Center, specializing in HIV prevention, treatment, and care services. On December 1st, as part of World AIDS Day, Yolanda's efforts were recognized when she received a Paul Starke Warrior Award. So today we've invited Yolanda to the West Hollywood Library, the site of another annual World AIDS Day tradition, the AIDS Watch 24-hour memorial, to learn more about how her work affects West Hollywood.
It starts with education. So when we've had a client who is newly diagnosed and we talk to them about PrEP, because they have a partner. And they're like, why isn't this on the news? Why isn't this in commercials? Why isn't this something that my primary care physician elsewhere mentioned to me? So PEP, post-exposure prophylaxis, is basically a medical emergency, what we consider it. It's someone who's been exposed to HIV through sexual contact or through people who inject drugs. If they believe that they were exposed to HIV, they have up to 72 hours to get started on treatment.
So it's a little like Plan B or the morning after pill, exactly, but for HIV, which is great.
Yeah. Whereas PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis, and it's for individuals who are HIV negative, who take the daily medication Truvada, and to reduce the likelihood of HIV transmission. So that's more like birth control.
In the fight against HIV and AIDS, medications like PEP and PrEP have saved countless lives. But it's important to remember the many lives that have been lost. According to the World Health Organization, since the beginning of the epidemic, roughly 35 million people have died of HIV. That's why a portion of the Paul Starke Warrior Awards ceremony was dedicated to these fallen brethren.
We were asked to speak the name out loud of someone who had passed away that we knew from HIV. And I think that was the most, the room literally just, at first, it started off slow, but towards the end, everyone was just, it's like a popcorn effect.
Yeah.
With me, at first I was thinking who do I know? But then it's all the people, all the patients from our clinic.
It's a grim reminder that nobody is unaffected when it comes to HIV. Right now, Congress has been pushing in this tax reform, which will also be affecting healthcare. How may that potentially affect the center?
At this point, those services are free. But in the near future, that might not be the case. Reason why it's so important for our center or for these services to remain free is because a lot of times people just don't have the money to come in and get tested.
One last question, what can we just normal civilian WeHoans do to help our brethren with HIV and AIDS?
Be supportive. Many times the first thing that we tend to do, obviously, if we find out that our friend or loved one is HIV positive, the first thing we do is worry for them, which is a human feeling, human effect. However, try to be there for them, try to understand them, understand that sure, HIV is no longer like a death sentence. However, a lot of times it's more of the emotional portion of it.
As you can see, Yolanda Reyes is an important, compassionate warrior for the HIV/AIDS community. And with an administration that's cutting health funding, this community needs every warrior it can get. I'm Ciriaco with WeHoTV News.